to kill if Traoré tries to leave the country. French agent Paul Mercier repeated the order he received through his earpiece, understood. The airport is closed, all border crossings are being monitored. The order had been given to shoot the young leader of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré, if he attempted to leave the country. At the same time, in a special room in the presidential palace, Traoré was being given bad news. Mr. President, French and American special teams have infiltrated our country. They will move to assassinate you within 24 hours. You need to go to a safe place. Traoré took a deep breath. No running away. We will trap them. But what he didn't know was who within the palace itself was working for the enemy. Intelligence Chief Aminata Zerbo put the file she was holding on the table. Mr. President, this is very serious. According to the information we've intercepted, the DGSE and CIA have launched a joint operation. Codename, Desert Rat. The goal is to neutralize you. Chief of General Staff Colonel Maurice Diallo was known for his intelligence in strategic planning and discipline. Traoré looked out the window of the special security room. The capital of Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou, was sleeping with the calmness of a normal day. No one knew that their country was now experiencing the most critical 24 hours in its history. Why now? Asked Traoré. Why did they suddenly decide to act? Those who have engaged in corruption will be punished. Your decision to nationalize the mines, said Defense Minister General Keita. Taking gold and uranium mines from French companies triggered the reaction in Paris. Also, your new military agreement with Russia put the Americans on alert. Asked Traoré as soon as the door closed. Traoré nodded. This wasn't an unexpected move. Since he began pursuing an independent African policy, he had felt the pressure from Western powers. But such a direct intervention. This was a declaration of war. How many are there? How did they enter the country? Asked Traoré. The intelligence chief answered, about 20 agents entered the country with passports from different countries in the last 72 hours. Some special team members may have also entered from the Mali border. Total number, 30 to 40. All professional assassins and saboteurs. Beside him was the newly appointed brigade commander, Colonel Sawadogo. Traoré looked at the map on the table. Do we know where they are? I'll give them non-critical information and observe their reactions. 2 groups are staying in hotels in the center of the capital. The others are mobile. They're probably watching the palace, said Special Forces Commander Captain Sidibe. Traoré looked at the 5 people present at the meeting: Intelligence Chief Zerbo, Defense Minister Keita, Special Forces Commander Sidibe, Chief of Staff Ouedraogo, and Security Advisor Diallo. The information here must absolutely remain in this room, he said in a decisive voice. We don't know who's working for the enemy. We are about to sign a major military agreement with the People's Republic of China. All 5 nodded, but a question entered Traoré's mind. Could one of these 5 people be betraying him? So what's our plan? Asked the defense minister. You want to take me to a safe place, said Traoré. But if I run, I show weakness. And most importantly, I can't find the real traitors. Better training and equipment will be provided. But Mr. President, objected Security Advisor Diallo. This is very risky. We must protect you. Some of you may ask me, why didn't you trust us? I can protect myself, said Traoré. He showed the gun he had carried throughout his mission. The real issue is to find these agents and neutralize them. You believe in me. Intelligence Chief Zerbo looked thoughtful. Mr. President, I have a suggestion. Let's spread the news that you've gone to a safe place. But in reality, stay in the palace, in a secret section. This way, we can both mislead the assassins and expose the traitors inside the palace. He sought support from African Union countries. Traoré thought this was a good idea. How will we implement it? One of those around the table was two-faced. Special Forces Commander Sidibe spoke. We create a decoy. A soldier who looks like you leaves the palace with a protection team, but goes to a safe house via a secret route. Meanwhile, you stay in an old section of the palace, in a room that even we don't know about. We'll discuss the details of the agreement. Good plan, said Traoré. What about the secret section? There were 5 separate files on the table. The palace has tunnels from the French colonial period, said Security Advisor Diallo. Most aren't even on the maps. We can hide you there. His financial situation is normal. Traoré approved. Let's start the operation immediately. And remember this, trust no one outside of those present here. Share nothing. This answer impressed not only the Russian general but all international observers. Within an hour, a soldier resembling Traoré left the palace with the official convoy. Those watching from outside would think the president was going to a secure location with his protection team. Meanwhile, Traoré himself settled in a forgotten section in the basement of the old palace. Only Intelligence Chief Zerbo and Special Forces Commander Sidibe were with him. The room was small but functional. A bed, a desk, basic communication equipment, and security cameras. From here, Traoré could monitor critical points in the palace. "We have 24 hours, said Traoré. "Within this time, we must find both the assassins and the traitors inside." Fatima Ouedraogo was educated in the USA, participated in training courses with the CIA. Zerbo nodded. "My team is currently monitoring the suspicious hotels in the city. We'll be notified of any movement." "He has French citizenship. What about those inside the palace?" asked Traoré. "We can't trust anyone. Even the defense minister is suspicious. Pascal Zongo, the person you've known the longest." "You're right, Mr. President," said Sidibe. "That's why so far, only the two of us know where you are. I told the others that you went to a military base in the provincial region. A bank account was opened in Switzerland in the last 2 years, and money is regularly deposited." As the hours passed, the tension increased. At midnight, a message came to Zerbo's phone. "Mr. President, the French agents have made their move. They've secretly met with the defense minister at a house in the north of the city." Continue. "My dear citizens," he said in a strong voice. "Keita? Are you sure? Appears extremely loyal to you. YES.my team is currently monitoring the meeting. They've planted a microphone for audio recording. Foreign Minister Bamba and my Chief of Staff Zongo are accused of collaborating with French intelligence to carry out 3 separate assassination attempts against me." Traoré had been betrayed by someone he trusted. What are they discussing? The mysterious Swiss account of Zongo and Caboret's secret meetings with the French are particularly noteworthy. "They're making plans to attack you. The defense minister says he doesn't know where you are, but he thinks you'll come to the cabinet meeting in the morning. But it should be known that no assassination, no coup attempt, can stop the honorable march of Burkina Faso. So they're setting a trap in the morning," said Traoré. "We can turn this to our advantage." 3 days later, the trial of Bamba and Zongo began. As the night progressed, the situation became clearer. Not only the defense minister, but also the Chief of Staff Ouedraogo was involved in the betrayal. Both were working with the French agents. The Americans were providing more intelligence support, not directly taking action. At 5 a.m., Traoré, Zerbo, and Sidibe had a secret meeting. "The plan is this," said Traoré. "I will go to the cabinet meeting at 8 a.m. But before that, a special forces team that we're sure is loyal will raid the hotels where the Western agents are staying. The defense minister and my chief of staff will come to the meeting as normal. And at that moment, they will also be arrested." He sent an encrypted telegram to Paris. "This is very risky, Mr. President," said Zerbo with concern. "What if we fail? Urgent action needed." "We cannot fail," said Traoré in a definitive voice. "This is not just about my life, it's a struggle for our country's independence. We must win." One of the men I trusted most. At 6 a.m., teams selected by Special Forces Commander Sidibe conducted simultaneous raids on 2 different hotels. At the second hotel, 5 French agents were captured. They were found with details of the assassination plan, secret maps of the palace, and various weapons. At 7:30 a.m., Traoré left the secret compartment and returned to the palace. In his private office, he examined the documents seized in the raid. The documents showed that the operation was more comprehensive than he had thought. It wasn't just about killing him, but also about installing a puppet government to replace him. "We shouldn't be late for the 8 o'clock meeting," said Traoré, looking at his watch. "The traitors are waiting for us." The final phase of his plan had also been realized. Traoré proceeded toward the cabinet meeting room with a protection team going ahead, as per normal security protocol. Security advisor Diallo was waiting at the door. "Good morning, Mr. President," said Diallo. "You look well. We need to fix our relations with France." Traoré smiled slightly. "Thank you, Diallo. Who has arrived for the meeting?" Traoré asked sternly. "The defense minister, finance minister, foreign minister, your chief of staff, and me. A house in Paris. Good. Let's go in together. And of course, money." When the door to the meeting room opened, the 4 ministers and the chief of staff sitting at the table rose in surprise at the sight of Traoré. The shock expression on the faces of Defense Minister Keita and Chief of Staff Ouedraogo was particularly visible. "Good morning," said Traoré, in a confident voice. "Today we will discuss very important issues. Especially regarding the security and independence of our country. Is that what you call this?" At that moment, armed Special Forces soldiers entered through the door. The shock on the faces of Defense Minister Keita and Chief of Staff Ouedraogo turned to horror. "What's happening?" stammered Keita. Traoré spoke coolly. General Keita, I charge you and Chief of Staff Ouedraogo with collaborating with foreign intelligence services and planning an assassination of the head of state. From this moment, you are under arrest. Keita looked at Traoré in panic. This is nonsense. I am a loyal. Traoré stood up. Loyal? Traoré cut him off. We have recordings of your meeting with French agents last night, General. This morning, 5 French agents were also captured at the hotel. The documents on them clearly show your betrayal. Traoré thought. The Special Forces soldiers handcuffed the pair and took them out. The other ministers were in shock. Ministers, said Traoré, turning to the other 3 people at the table. This morning, our country has averted a great danger. Western agents had planned to kill me and establish a puppet government. However, thanks to our loyal security forces, we have thwarted this conspiracy. When Traoré returned to the village, the villagers were still waiting in the square. The foreign minister asked with a surprised expression, When did you learn about this? French paratrooper units have crossed the border. Yesterday, said Traoré. And we had only 24 hours to act. I know that you have many questions. I will answer them all in time. But right now, we need to make some urgent decisions for our national security. Activate our defense systems. The meeting continued with the remaining ministers. Traoré decided to reduce the number of personnel in the French and US diplomatic missions in Burkina Faso. He also decided to announce the captured agents to the public and hold an international press conference. Towards noon, Traoré held a private assessment meeting with Intelligence Chief Zerbo and Special Forces Commander Sidibé. We've captured a total of 12 Western agents and arrested 2 high-level traitors, said Zerbo, giving her report. However, some agents may have escaped. But Traoré stopped him. Increase border controls, said Traoré. Don't let any of them leave the country. What else have we learned from the documents seized from the agents? Interesting? Sidibé put a folder on the table. The conspiracy is bigger than we thought, Mr. President. Not just France and the US, but some neighboring countries are also involved. A wave of shock spread through the room. The anti-coup government in Mali and the pro-French administration in Ivory Coast, added Zerbo. Both are uncomfortable with your Pan-Africanist policies. Especially after your decisions to nationalize gold mines and military cooperation with Russia. So this is not just an assassination plan, but a regional strategy. Now I understand, said Traoré, putting the pieces together. Absolutely, said Zerbo. In the agent's documents, there's a section dealing with your plan to exit the West African Monetary Union, CFA franc. Western powers will do anything to stop your economic independence move. Trained at Saint-Cyr, with connections in the French army. Traoré looked out the window thoughtfully. What we did this morning is just the first step. The struggle is just beginning. No, Mr. President. In the afternoon, Traoré gave a speech on national television. Before the cameras started rolling, Intelligence Chief Zerbo approached him. Mr. President, your speech will be broadcast live. You should choose your language and words carefully. This could create an international crisis. The first, for the immediate closure of the mine in Badi Bali. Traoré nodded. Don't worry, Aminata. I will be diplomatic, but I won't hide the truth either. Let them, said Traoré. When the red light came on, Traoré began speaking, looking into the camera. People of Burkina Faso, my dear citizens. Today I am before you to inform you about a serious attack against our country's independence and sovereignty. Yesterday, Western agents who infiltrated our country had planned an assassination against me, and then planned to establish a puppet government to once again hand over our country's resources to Western companies. Traoré's rise to power and policies moving away from the West threatened this network. Traoré showed photos of the captured agents and the seized documents. This morning, thanks to the successful operations of our security forces, we thwarted this dangerous conspiracy. 12 foreign agents were arrested, and 2 high-level state officials were detained for their betrayal. Today I must tell you a bitter truth. Traoré's facial expression became even more serious. Today, I have a clear message to France and the United States. Burkina Faso is an independent country. We have the right to manage our own resources and determine our own future. Your efforts to interfere in our internal affairs and change our government are unacceptable. But remember this, he continued. I also have a message for our people, do not fear. There will be challenges as we move forward on the path to independence. We may face economic and security challenges. But we will not give up our struggle for independence. Burkina Faso will determine its own destiny. But at the same time, we will review our foreign relations. The speech was met with widespread support throughout the country. People took to the streets in the capital Ouagadougou and other major cities to show their support for Traoré, singing the national anthem and chanting anti-French and anti-American slogans. In the evening, Traoré was making final assessments with his close team at his palace. "Western powers will not leave this unanswered," said the foreign minister. "We should be prepared for economic sanctions, international isolation, and even more destabilization attempts." Traoré's popularity was higher than ever. Traoré nodded. "I expect all of these. But we will not be afraid. This morning, we not only thwarted an assassination plan, but also gave hope to our people. Independence is possible. We found the source of the money." "What's next, Mr. President?" asked Special Forces Commander Sidibe. "Economic independence," said Traoré in a determined voice. "We will exit the CFA franc and create our own currency. We will use the revenues from our gold and uranium mines for our people. And most importantly, we will increase our cooperation with neighboring countries, especially those who have chosen a similar path to independence, like Mali and Niger." Professor Ouedraogo, despite being a French citizen, is an active supporter of the Pan-Africanist movement. Intelligence Chief Zerbo looked concerned. "Mr. President, Western powers will do everything to prevent these. They will send more agents, support coup attempts." Traoré relaxed. "I know," said Traoré. "That's why we will strengthen our army. We will increase security cooperation with Russia and China. And most importantly, we will gain the support of our people. Because the greatest power of a country is its united people." A month later, the Burkina Faso government announced the decision to remove French military bases from the country. In the meeting that lasted until late at night, Traoré and his team detailed Burkina Faso's new independence strategy. They no longer had just 24 hours to survive, they had a vision to shape the future of the country. A week later, international media carried headlines about Burkina Faso's 24-hour crisis and the dramatic changes that followed. The New York Times headlined, "A New Wave of Independence in Africa," while Le Monde asked, "The end of French influence?" Despite economic hardships, the people stood behind their leader. Traoré had now become a symbol of independence not just for Burkina Faso, but for all of West Africa. Countries like Mali, Niger, and Guinea were closely following Burkina Faso's steps. A month later, Traoré made an official visit to Moscow at the invitation of the Russian president. During the visit, military and economic cooperation agreements were signed. Despite threats from Western powers, Traoré was not backing down. Today, Traoré is recognized as one of Africa's most influential leaders. The brave decisions he made during what became known as the 24-hour crisis changed not only his own life but also the destiny of his country. In his own words, "A leader is not just a figure sitting in a chair. One must be ready to risk one's life for the people when necessary. Because true independence is only won and preserved with courage." The council members looked at each other in surprise.